Six Flags Darien Lake is a local amusement park in western New York, and it's my home park. I recently visited for the first time this year, and today I'm going to be counting down all their coasters and seeing which of their 7 rides is the best. Let's get right into the ranking. Coming in at number 7, we have the park's Vekoma SLC Mind Eraser. Now, this ride actually does have a good layout. A lot of the elements are really fun and interesting, and the layout was very well designed. However, the reason that this is the worst coaster at the park is the terrible restraints and roughness. The restraints are hard over-the-shoulder restraints that aren't very cushioned or comfortable for your head, and the ride has a roughness to it that shakes your head around, so it's essentially playing pinball in the over-the-shoulder restraints. It's not comfortable, and I had a headache after getting off this ride, which is never a good thing. Overall, this ride has a good layout, but it's terribly ruined by the roughness, which is why it's my least favorite coaster at the park. Coming in at number 6 is the Boomerang. This coaster is a Vekoma Boomerang clone with a lift hill that takes you backwards before dropping you into Cobra Roll and Vertical Loop, then taking you up a lift hill and dropping you backwards, so to do the whole layout again, but backwards. Now, this layout is fun, but it's a clone and there's many of them at different parks. People complain that these rides are rough, but I didn't think it was that bad. Overall, I did enjoy it, however, I wish it was more of a unique model, which is why it's so low on the list. At number 5, we have the park's Zamperla launched motorbike coaster, the Moto Coaster. This ride starts with a very powerful launch and an abrupt turn, but the rest of it is a typical family coaster. However, this ride has one particular unique feature, which is that the trains are motorbikes. These motorbikes are an interesting type of coaster seat, and although the restraints are restrictive and the position can get uncomfortable, it's still a fun ride, especially with the launch, which is a very powerful launch for a family coaster. Apart from the launch, however, it's mostly a family coaster, which is why it couldn't be any higher on the list. However, the motorbike design is really fun, and that's why it's above Boomerang. Coming in at number 4, we have the park's Aero Looper Viper. Viper was the ride that had the most inversions in the world when it opened. It has 5 inversions, which isn't too many by today's standards, but it's still a fun ride. I recommend riding this ride in the back, as that's the only seat that has airtime on the drop. This ride is really fun, and the inversions, airtime on the drop, and the positive G's are fun. The corkscrews are my favorite element on the ride, as they give great hang time due to the fact that the mid-course brake run slows the train down quite a bit. The tunnel is a fun little addition, and overall, it feels like a complete and fun Aero Looper. People say that this ride hurts, but I don't really get that pain, although I am tall enough that my shoulders clear the over-the-shoulder restraint, which can make it more comfortable as my neck is close to the over-the-shoulder restraint rather than my head, which would give me a headache like Mind Eraser. Coming in at number 3 is the park's Gerstlauer Eurofighter coaster, Tantrum. This coaster is a really fun ride. It's got great airtime, especially on the drop, which is best in the back row. I didn't think there would be much of a difference, but after riding both rows, the drop hits quite a bit more in the back with more ejector airtime the whole way down. The way that the track folds in on itself for the beyond vertical drop is a feeling that's really unique and a great thing to have on the ride. The ride has fun airtime and inversions, however, I just wish it was longer. From drop to brakes, it's barely 20 seconds, and I wish that there was just a little bit more ride here. If there was more of a ride to this coaster, then it could be number 2 in the park, but currently it's sitting at number 3 due to the shortness of the ride. And the number 2 coaster at Darien Lake is the park's only wooden coaster, Predator. I've heard that this coaster used to be really rough, but my first time riding it was with the new Titan track section, and while it was a little bumpy, it wasn't anything that really deterred from the ride experience, in my opinion. The ride has a good drop and a lot of good airtime hills that, in my opinion, are best taken towards the back of the train. My personal favorite row to ride is row 15, which is second from the back, as this offers the good airtime of the back car without being directly over a wheel, so it's more of a smooth ride. This is a long and fun wooden coaster with a lot of good elements to it, and in my opinion, it's not so rough to detract from the ride experience. So, because of these great elements and airtime moments, it's number 2 at the park for me. And the number 1 coaster at Darien Lake by a long shot is Ride of Steel. This 200-foot tall, intimate hypercoaster is quite a ride. The drop offers some great airtime towards the back of the train, and all the hills give some pretty good airtime, although the smaller ones toward the end are the better ones, with the first big hill being only some mild floater. The ride features 2 long banked helixes that are really fun, and the first one is more forceful than the second one, but in my opinion, they're both fun elements for the ride. The ride features some odd straight track in between the helixes, but the visual of skimming over the lake is pretty cool, so I'm not complaining about that element. Overall, this is a great hypercoaster with some awesome ejector airtime and creative elements, and it's a really cool ride to have at such a small park. Thanks guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like on it, because that helps me out quite a bit with the YouTube algorithm. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe so you don't miss out on any great coaster content just like this, and comment about what your favorite ride at Six Flags Darien Lake is. As always, thanks for watching. ZZ Coasters signing off.